Da? No. Oh, thank you. I just know Dobrodošli, which is maybe just the casual welcome.
That's better.
All right, so with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Welcome to the adjourned regular meeting of the City Council. It is August 18th at 4:31 p.m. May I have a roll call vote?
Yes. Councilmember Castle?
Here.
Councilmember Kalajedovich?
Here.
Councilmember Obaji?
Here.
Councilmember Barron?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Waller?
Present. Okay, so next is blue folder items. Do we have any blue folder items for closed session?
None for closed session.
And so that brings us to public communications on closed session items and non-agenda items. Is there anyone from the public online?
We have no hands raised on Zoom and no e-comments.
All right, seeing nobody here, I'm going to declare that there is no public comment. It is now time to recess to closed session. City Clerk, could you please read the items that will be discussed in closed session?
As authorized by the Government Code as listed on the published agenda, the following items will be discussed in closed session. Items E1 and E2 are under the title Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation. For item E1, the name of the case is Redondo Beach City Employee Association versus City of Redondo Beach, case number LA-CE-1892-M. And for item E2, the name of the case is Cornelia Blakely versus City of Redondo Beach and does 1 through 25 inclusive, case number 24-TRCV-02937. And for item E3, it is under the title Conference with Real Property Negotiator. The property is 207 North Harbor Drive, Redondo Beach, CA 90277, a portion of APN 7503-029-903. Thank you.
City Manager, who will be joining us in closed session for these items?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Myself, for all items, along with City Attorney Joy Ford and Assistant City Attorney Cheryl Park. For items E1 and E2, we will have Diane Strickfadden, our Human Resources Director. For item E1, we will also have Alina Hashmi with our City Attorney's Office. For item E2, we will have Tiffany Chevrant and Sean Brady, outside legal counsel. And then for item E3, we will have Elizabeth House, our Waterfront Community Services Director, and Catherine Buck, our Waterfront and Economic Development Manager.
Thank you. This time, I'd entertain a motion to recess to closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Closed session.
Flawless, Mayor.
reconvening to open session from closed session. May I have a roll call?
You're on. Need your
Are we
gavel.
on?
It says
Can you
you're
hear
on.
me in the back? I can't tell. Look at that.
Here we go. 30-second
Testing.
warning.
Says I'm on.
Sorry.
All right, I'll start over here. Should I?
Yes.
I'll do that.
There you go.
Good evening. We are reconvening to open session from closed session. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Waller.
Present.
Councilmember Castle. Here. Councilmember Kajujevic.
Here.
Councilmember Obaji. Here. Councilmember Barrett. Here. And Mayor Light is absent.
City manager, do we have any announcements from closed session?
No reportable action this evening, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. We are now, I'm getting used to this still. Is there a motion to adjourn to the regular meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? That is unanimous. So I am calling to order the regular meeting of the City Council at 6:01 PM. Do we have to do another roll call here? Yes. Okay. It's like, we just did one. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Waller.
Present.
Councilmember Castle.
Here.
Councilmember Kajujevic.
Here.
Councilmember Obaji.
Here.
Councilmember Barrett.
Here.
And Mayor Light is again absent.
If we have any veterans or active duty military in our audience, may you please stand and be recognized for your service? Seeing none. Let's all stand for the salute to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence. I would like to call Aaron, who will lead us in the pledge.
Good evening. My name is Aaron. I'm a fourth grader at Barrel Heights Elementary School. My favorite subject at school is math. I love my home in Redondo Beach. Please put your hand over your heart and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now it's a quick moment of invocation. Thank you very much. Everybody can be seated, but Aaron, would you please come up here?
Excited for school tomorrow?
All right, so stand here, we'll get a picture of you, and then we'll bring up your family.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1.
Good.
All right.
Mom and dad and family?
Let's do it.
You can come up.
There we
That'd be
go.
symmetrical.
Perfect. 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
Right?
Thank you very much. Call your friends. We'd love to keep on having students do flag salutes, so tell all your friends at school how great it was.
We told his
Boy
Boy
Scout
Scout troop.
Oh, there you go. Okay, now it is time for presentations, proclamations, and AB 1234 announcements. Councilmember Castle.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Councilmember Kalujevic.
Yeah, just a few. I was gone the last two meetings. Thank you all for carrying all of that. Before I left, I got to attend the Shakespeare by the Sea events, and I just wanted to report that the numbers came back for attendees. 600 people attended at Veterans Park, and nearly 592 attended at Dominguez Park. That's a lot of people, and the show was incredible. Just very well done and clearly loved by the community. And also Coastline Cares hosted an event on August 8th, cleaning up and helping neighbors in need. I want to shout out to Athens, who provided the roll-off bin to clear out a lot of trash, not some, from one of our neighbors' yards. And it's just a great example of community coming together to to help out those that may need a little bit of support. And obviously, we have back to school tomorrow, so everyone have a great day, be safe, and have a great school year. And tomorrow, it seems that our water polo space in the harbor is hosting a very cool tournament where the national teams of the United States, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, the women's teams, will be playing. There'll be an Olympian, Jordan Rainey, there, and the U.S. coach. So it's at 11 to 1. So if you're not in school and you're not working, definitely go down and check it out. It would be very cool to see. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Obaji.
No announcements at this time.
And Councilmember Barrett.
None tonight.
All right. For what I have is I attended the NRBBA Rise and Shine Redondo meeting last week. We had presentations from Sergeant Bannock and Captain Mahoney on the Citizens Police Academy and the CERT class. I got to attend 2 ribbon cuttings last week, one for face window tinting and the other for honeycut consulting. On Saturday, I attended the K-9 demonstration at West High School. Congratulations to Officer Cook and K-9 Wouter for taking first place in the tactical obedience, and Officer Haley and K-9 Max, who finished second in the fastest dog competition at 25 miles per hour. The winner was 26. These dogs are wearing tactical vests, so that's pretty good for anybody. RBUSD held their back to school rally on Monday. I got to help welcome everybody back. Students will be back in classes tomorrow, and drive safely. Riviera Village Association Board met this morning, discussed some ideas on beautification. They've created a subcommittee, and they will be presenting ideas at the next meeting. I've got a Clean Power Alliance Legislative Regulatory Committee meeting tomorrow, held virtually here in City Hall. Dine Around Artesia is Thursday at 5 p.m. Get your tickets from NRBBA as soon as you can. I don't know if there are any available. You'll probably see a few of us there. Chamber of Commerce will be holding their regional mixer on the 26th at Seaside Lagoon. The next South Bay Cities Council of Governments Board meeting I will be attending on the 27th. And my next community meeting will be Saturday, August 29th at the Alta Vista Community Center at 9 a.m. And as I've said for the last couple, Cruisin' Lagoon every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. at the King Harbor parking lot, and live music at the pier Thursdays and Saturdays this summer. Councilmember Obaji.
Yes, if I may, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you to Mike Cook. Access Redondo is now available again, both on Droid and on iOS. So thank you for that. If you have any problems, you can email us, your council member, and tell us about a glitch in it, and we'll forward those on to Mr. Cook. I'm sure he'll get them fixed. And in light of what Mayor Pro Tem Waller said about school starting tomorrow, I remind you to drive slow, Redondo. That's it.
Thank you very much. Now it's time to approve the order of the agenda. Does anybody have any modifications to the order?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, staff has a request. We'd like to pull item H11 this evening. We intend to, it's not time sensitive. We have an opportunity, we think, to present this as a positive informational item to our Public Works, Safety and Sustainability Commission in October. So we're going to take a little time to prepare for that, do that, and then bring that item back to you following that presentation.
Any other modifications?
I'll move to, minus H11.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All in favor of the agenda as so modified, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous. Okay, it is time to go to, we're going to recess to the special meeting of the Redondo Beach Housing Authority. Guess I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? None. So, I'll pull out my next agenda. Okay. All right, right, so this is a special meeting of the Redondo Beach Housing Authority. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call.
Member Waller,
Present.
Member Castle,
Here?
Member Kelly Jedovich,
Here.
Member Obaji,
Here.
Member Barron,
Here.
Commissioner Price, Commissioner Newton,
Here.
and Chairman Light is absent.
Do we have any blue folder items?
There are no blue folder items for this meeting.
Up next is the consent items. We have C1 through C5. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent agenda from the special meeting of the Housing Authority?
Nope.
All right, so I would take a motion if you've got one.
Move to approve the consent calendar items C1 through C5.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. All in favor of the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous. We have now public participation on non-agenda items. This section is only for the Redondo Beach Housing Authority. I have no cards. Does anybody in the audience wish to speak, or online, or e-comments, wish to speak to the Redondo Beach Housing Authority? Seeing none, do we have any ex parte communicate, or, oh,
So there are no e-comments and there are no participants online that wish to speak.
thank you. So with no one wishing to speak, the next ex parte communications, we don't have a public hearing, so we don't need to worry about that. We have no old business. We have no new business. Do we have any members with items with referrals to staff?
None.
Okay, that would be, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The next scheduled meeting of the Redondo Beach Housing Authority is a regular meeting on Tuesday, September 1st, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Council Chambers here, 415 Diamond Street. Thank you very much. And that brings us to, just want to double check, blue folder items, I think. Yes, so do we have any blue folder items for the regular city council meeting?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, there were two blue folder items for this meeting. There was a public communication for item J1 and a public communication for item N2, and that is all.
Okay, do we need to receive and file those? So,
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
all in favor of receive and file the blue folder items, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the consent calendar. Does anybody have anything that they would like to pull from the consent calendar other than item H11, which has already been removed by the city manager?
None.
Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for the consent calendar for H1 to 10 and 12 to 14.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the consent calendar, say aye. Oh,
Aye.
pardon?
Public comment?
Oh, sorry about that. It's time for public comment on the consent calendar. I have Alex Feynman, who would like to speak on H9.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Alex Feynman, District 3. And I wanted to speak to item H9, which is a few legislative advocacy letters that the mayor and council want to send, three of which regard housing policy statewide. In the draft of the letter opposing the Missing Middle Townhome Ownership Act, there was a line in that letter that I specifically wanted to call out, which was that the city of Redondo Beach supports efforts to increase housing production and expand home ownership opportunities. And I am so happy to see the city go on record with the state assembly that it wants to increase housing production, because for a long time, I feel that if we have been supporting housing production, we've been hiding it really well. We spent a lot of money in legislation against the state, challenging housing law and challenging specific projects that developers bring to our city. City leadership is very involved in advocacy groups in support of local control. We have spent a lot of time lobbying Sacramento. We're even in support of the South Bay City's Council of Governments campaign to outright repeal and replace RENA. And when projects do come to, multifamily projects do come to the city, when they do get finally approved, it's often with the disclaimer that our hands were tied by Sacramento. And Councilmember Abaji, last month at one of the council meetings, you noted specifically that the Planning Commission, quote, doesn't let projects through easily. So that's been the recent history of this city in response to housing. And then now the city is formally saying to our state assembly members, this city of Redondo Beach supports efforts to increase housing production and expand home ownership opportunities. And so tonight, I want to take you at your word. If we want to do this, let's work together. I really want to invite you, any of you who want to meet with me, local activist groups who support housing, community members, if any of you, if the mayor want to meet and talk about real solutions, policy solutions that can work locally, resources, anything that we can actually do to help this city deliver the housing that both the city and the state need, I want to work with you. So if we are in support of this housing, let's start tonight. Let's pull the letters from the consent calendar and let's start working together on real housing solutions. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who would like to speak on items on the consent agenda in here or online?
There are no participants online. And for e-comments, there was one item for H9 received with no position indicated.
All right, that then brings us to public participation on non-agenda items.
Mayor Pro Tem, I need resolutions.
I apologize. Please read the items on the.
We didn't vote yet.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
we got interrupted.
Yep.
See, that's why I've got all these
Keep in mind,
people
we got
helping
this.
keep.
That's right.
I'll get it perfectly by my third meeting. We need to call a vote for the agenda items. So this is H1 through H10 and H12 through H14. Yes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous.
Okay, so
Now
there's two
you can
resolutions
read
we need to read. Adopt by four-fifths vote and title only resolution number CC-2608-069, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, California, authorizing a fiscal year 2026 to 2027 budget modification to allocate $69,152 from the City of El Segundo and $19,761 from the City of Hermosa Beach for a total of $88,913 for Beach City's Transit Line 109 cost sharing to the city's transit fund. And then we have adopt by title only resolution number CC-2608-070, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, California, leasing certain property to Raquel Butler Insurance Services, LLC. And that is all, Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, thank you. So if I'm now correct, that brings us to public participation on non-agenda items. This section is intended to provide members of the public with the opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. The section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the mayor and council. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. And I will start with a card here, and after that we will alternate to somebody who is online if we have. I have Miles Burkhart. Come on up, Miles.
Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council, I'm Miles Burkhart, 14-year resident. In the July 21st council meeting, you stated on the record that the 36-inch and 42-inch height limits for fences, hedges, and obstructions exist for public safety. I agree. However, I have uncovered 3 issues with the pending code change that need to be addressed. The details are in your electronic blue folder. First is an issue around intent. Today, residents report hazards using whatever language they think will get results. If public safety is our benchmark, I'd like the city manager to clarify what is code enforcement's process for determining whether a complaint is safety related versus height only. and who makes that determination? Second is the issue of ghost inspections. The city's own closure data shows a troubling pattern of closures after the city manager paused code enforcement in June. The code enforcement team is regularly bulk closing safety cases within the span of minutes. One example happened just last week when an officer closed 9 cases in 9 minutes across 14 city blocks. They were using identical boilerplate language. I think it's safe to say no physical inspection resolves 9 safety hazards in 9 minutes. Perhaps the city manager could explain how that works. The third issue is administrative closures. Separate from ghost inspections, code enforcement is purging legitimate safety complaints, even while the code update remains unwritten. Last week, the city manager's team closed 36 hedge and vegetation cases. This is over 9 times the average weekly closure rate since June. These cases were not actually resolved, they were just wiped from the records. In your blue folder, I have included a report highlighting which closures are invalid or questionable. Sadly, over 80% of them are highly suspicious closures. 15 of the closures are on corner lots, where tree versus hedge debate is irrelevant because the code names both hedges and trees directly. To ensure accountability moving forward, I have 2 requests. First, I request this council direct the city manager to immediately audit his team's performance. Second, I request the city activate the feature in Access Redondo that automatically surveys residents when their cases are closed. This simple step will expose ghost inspections, drive-by assessments, and incomplete fixes. Thank you.
Do we have any public comment online?
There are no speakers online, and there was 1 comment for J1 with a position, no position indicated.
All right, that means Wayne Craig, we have you next, and assuming nobody else online, Gil Escontrias would be the next one after Wayne Craig.
Put that gavel down, Brad. Hi, I'm Wayne Craig, resident of District 1. Redondo Beach has a big problem, and it's a serious one. Over the past several months, I've seen residents who have raised concerns about the city's handling of public records requests, including requests that have gone unanswered or taken an unreasonable amount of time. So I decided to check the system myself. It's been some time since I submitted a request, and I wanted to see how things were going. What I found was troubling. Several requests I previously submitted, some involving matters that later became part of a serious litigation, appear to be missing from the system. Even more concerning, documents the system indicates I supposedly received can no longer be relocated. You know, perhaps this is related to the city's new records management system. If so, I understand that technology transitions can create problems, but those problems cannot become the public's problem. The California Public Record Act establishes clear obligations for governmental agencies. The public has a right to access public records, and the city has an obligation to respond promptly and provide meaningful information about when the records will be produced. I'm also hearing from residents who have reported that in their experiences, when a request is going to take a long time, the response often seems to be some variation of, the city has discovered more than 100,000 responsive documents. Now, that might be legitimate, but when someone requests a specific letter sent by one person and the response suggests there's 100,000 responsive documents, that raises a simple question. How is that possible? The city needs to take a hard look at the system and make sure records are promptly preserved, requests are properly tracked, and the public receives timely and accurate responses. And I would strongly encourage you to fix this before it becomes a legal problem. There are organizations whose mission is to enforce public record laws, and cities across California have faced lawsuits for failing to comply. We shouldn't wait for that to happen. My second concern is how we conduct ourselves when members of the public come to the podium. You don't have to agree with someone if you're sitting behind the dais. You don't even have to like what they say. But when someone comes to this podium, they are exercising their right to speak to their government. When elected officials immediately try to rebuke, belittle, or personally attack a speaker after they finish, it doesn't make the speaker look bad. It makes the elected official look thin-skinned. I remember watching former Mayor Brand handle some incredibly personal criticism and vitriolic attacks when he was behind the podium, behind the dais. He didn't take the bait. He simply listened and let the person finish. I once asked him, how did he do that? How could he sit through that? He said basically, I just imagine I'm surfing. Maybe that's the approach we need to have now. Public office comes with criticism. You chose public office, and the public has a right to criticize you. Your responsibility is to make sure they also have a government that listens, preserves their records, responds to their request, and respects their right to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect timing, too. Okay, do we have anyone else online?
There are no participants online.
Gil Escontrias, you are next.
Dialogue isn't a luxury, it's a democratic necessity. Our constitutions protect speech, assembly, and petition because government must remain in a real conversation with the people. Newsletters and posts don't substitute for a two-way exchange. And it's sad that in my district, 4-5 months before we've had a community meeting, residents are left chasing basic access and only hear something vague once people speak up. Communication shouldn't be reactive. I appreciate those of you who hold regular meetings. Okay, that builds trust, and because conversation matters. So therefore, in District 1, we will gather on Saturday, August 29th at 10 a.m. at Alta Vista Park, in a public park, okay? The door is open. We hope you'll join us. Because again, what we would like to do is have a respectful dialogue with those of which who we've elected, and those of which sometimes that are appointed, and those of which who are willing to listen to us as a community. We don't have to agree on anything or everything, but we need to listen to each other, okay? Sometimes I prefer not to be the smartest guy in the room, and many times I'm not. I don't wish to be. But I think sometimes that we've got quite a few people in our community who have a lot of insight into things because of their experiences, because of their jobs, or because of life, okay? Yet, sometimes it's good to listen to them. You don't have to agree, but you should at least every once in a while have a meeting, talk to the people, listen to them, okay? And then again, as taxpayers, that's our right. It's a constitutional right for us to address it. And I think sometimes when that occurs, that we don't always have to be adversarial on everything. I don't agree with a lot of things that some people say, and there are things that many of you do that I support, will wholeheartedly support if given the opportunity. But it's like like Wayne said, but when you belittle people and say things, because I've heard some of the stuff you guys said about me, and a lot of it is probably true, okay? But I'm still a taxpayer. I'm still someone who lives in this community, and I'm still someone who cares. And I think it's important for not just me, but for everybody else around here, that you take the time just every once in a while to stop and listen, okay? And one of the things I teach when I teach in dealing with the mentally ill is every once in a while we have to back up and shut up. And that's when you sometimes hear about things that go on in our community. Again, August 29th, if we have to put our own meeting together, we will do our own meeting. Our own meeting. Because if people don't want to listen to us one way or another, you're going to have to. Thank you.
That is all the cards that I have. Do we have anyone online?
There are no participants online.
Would anyone here in the room like to come and speak? You can just walk up and introduce yourself. And
good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Hamza Kudmani. This is my second time I'm speaking regarding to the same issue, which is changing the zone in PCH with Roby Streets from RH to be C2. Today I had a meeting with the city planning department, and they informed me this is officially is not active yet, but the city council is approved this plan, and they're gonna have like a voting on that in November 4th, which is, I think that is totally, I think is unfair to like let 49,000 registered voters to vote on something affecting 30 properties, which is going to affect us a lot in the bad way. And that is mentioned in the report in October 2024 as well. That is, our property size is small. And that is, to have a commercial things is going to be very limited. And all this properties is residential now. And today I spoke with some of my neighbors, and all of them is disagree with that. And all of them is wish to change that before it's going to be a nightmare for us. I have one of my neighbors as well here with us. So that is actually in the last minute as well. We know about this, all this change is going to happen in our zone. And there's no time for us to taking a decision for that, or taking an action for that, sorry. So we need your help, please, all the city councils to fix that, or guide us how we can be fast to change this before it's going to be a fact in November 3rd. Thank you so much.
Would you like to also speak? I see two people wanting to come up and speak, but whoever comes up first, just come on up.
Anyone online?
Oh, do we have anyone online yet?
There's no participants online.
We are neighbors, and my family has owned the property at 510 South Pacific Coast Highway for over 70 years. And it is an older house. The property is 40 by 100. This, if you make it commercial, it would limit what I can do with my property. And evidently nothing has been approved, and none of the neighbors seem to know that this was happening. And most of them are a little upset, so, because it does affect our future. And my dogs.
Yeah. All right. Up next, I see Dr. Holly Osborne. Oh, anyone online?
There are no participants online.
Holly Osborne, District 5. And when I heard that gentleman speak last time, he spoke after me, and I really did want to speak because I went to almost every single one of those GPAC meetings. And I remember when this came up about people living in non-conforming properties, and if you changed I don't remember all the details, but if you changed what it was zoned as, they would have trouble getting loans and things like that. And I remember that to this day, because that was a real learning experience for me. I had no idea that could cause such problems for people. And so I remember at the meetings, and I wish the mayor were here because he was at almost all of them, I was under the impression that you were not, or the committee was not going to create problems for those people. And so when that gentleman came up last time, I thought, whoa, that somebody has really dropped the ball. And just because I probably went to more GPAC meetings than anybody who was not on the committee, I remember that so specifically because it was such a shock to me. And I hope you all, whoever district that gentleman is in, can fix this. And you need an old person to come who's got a memory to come up and tell you this stuff. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else online?
There are no participants online.
Anyone else in person would like to speak? Seeing none, I believe that does it for public comment. Ex parte communications, we have no public hearings, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. Next, we have nothing continued from previous agendas. Items for discussion prior to action. Item N1, decision on possible action on formation of the Measure FP Citizens Oversight Committee. Luke Smoody will be speaking to that one, correct?
That is correct. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Luke Smoody, Assistant to the City Manager, here to discuss the potential establishment of a Measure FP Citizens Oversight Committee. So we'll go through a quick presentation tonight, give you a quick recap of Measure FP, what it is for folks at home, talk about our timeline for bond issuance, go into a little detail on the Citizens Oversight Committee, and then offer staff's recommendations and potential next steps. So Measure FP is a general obligation bond measure that was approved by the voters of Redondo Beach on November 5th, 2024, approved with a 71.4% approval of the voting public, and that is to issue $93,350,000 in general obligation bonds to replace both Fire Station 1 and Fire Station 2, and also rebuild the main police station and renovate the police annex. And so bond issuance was formalized through ordinance number 327424, and that has the conditions and authority to issue the bonds. And in that ordinance was also the provision that we would establish a Measure FP Citizens Oversight Committee to evaluate expenditures made of general obligation fund proceeds. And so at this point, the bond issuance is planned for the fall of 2026. We plan to go to market end of October and hopefully close second week of November. And at this point, given the timeline on the project that we've developed through the strategic planning process, we expect to issue one single issuance for that full amount of the general obligation bond. And so moving to the actual structure of the Measure FP Citizens Oversight Committee we're proposing for your approval tonight, we are recommending a 5-person committee, and we will solicit applications through the city clerk's website. It'll be open to the public, and members of the committee would have to be 18 years of age, be a resident of Redondo Beach, and also a registered voter. With that 5-person recommended format, each council member would have the opportunity to nominate an individual for that committee. And the Citizens Oversight Committee, want to be very clear, it's specifically narrowly tailored. And by that, we mean the committee will only review expenditures that are made. There won't be any oversight into the strategic planning of the project, contracts that are going to be let, RFPs, any considerations for the projects themselves. It will just be expenditures and making sure that they conform to the obligations under that bond and that they are expended for appropriate expenditures for Measure FP and rebuilding these public safety facilities. Term will be 4 years, which we see will be enough time from bond issuance to the end of the term when bond funds will be totally expended. The horizon on that is expected to be around 3 years, and so we would have time to then perform the final actions after the final expenditure. Meetings will be at least one time annually and no more than quarterly, and meetings will be held on city property and be subject to the Brown Act. They'll be public, and minutes will be recorded. They can be televised. And the committee itself will produce an annual report, and it'll basically summarize the expenditures that are made for Measure FP in the previous fiscal year. And that body will verify that all those expenditures comply with the requirements of Measure FP. And as we look to start soliciting individuals, it would be beneficial to the city if we can attract folks that have a background in municipal finance or familiar with financial reporting and things like that. It's not an absolute requirement, but in the resolution, it does say that the ideal candidate would possess that financial savvy. And so staff recommendation and next steps, we recommend that you adopt the resolution before you, resolution number CC 2608-071, and that would actually establish the Measure FP Citizens Oversight Committee. And then following adoption, staff, if it's adopted, staff will advertise vacancies and accept applications in October of this year. And then as stated before, each council member will nominate one individual for consideration of appointment to the committee in a city council meeting. And that'll be brought to you as an agenda item where each of those names would be brought forward and you would vote on it, how you would typically vote on any board or commission member. And so that concludes my prepared remarks, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Does anyone on the council have any questions? I don't see any hands raised, assuming that This is my first time doing this, so you can just jump in.
So I just have one quick question. When will you open up the window and when will it be posted on the city's website for applications for the committee?
We expect to advertise that in October, and so that will be roughly concurrent with the bonds going to market. The body will not have to be established prior to the bonds being issued, but we want that timeline to kind of match up so it's in place and ready to go where we can hold our first meeting not too long after bond issuance.
Yeah, we may actually open the advertisement or application request in September. The idea is that we're culling the applications in October and then giving you all an opportunity to make nominations with that late November, kind of early December timeline for actual approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have some time to recruit and talk to.
You do.
Councilmember Obaji.
I'll make a motion to adopt by title only resolution number CC-2608-071.
Second.
Thank you. With a motion and a second, do we have any public comment from anybody in the room on this item? Do we have anybody online?
There are no participants online, and there were no e-comments for this as well.
Any other discussion before I call a vote? All right, all in favor of approving resolution CC 2608-071, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. Do you have something to read?
I do. So adopt by title only resolution number CC-2608-071, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, California, creating the Measure FP Citizens Oversight Committee to review and report on expenditures made from general obligation bond proceeds to rebuild and renovate the city's key public safety facilities.
Thank you. That brings us to item N2, discussion and possible action on the city's business license tax collection process and fee structure for special event vendors. I believe that Stephanie Meyer, Finance Director, will be presenting to us next.
That is correct.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. As just mentioned, Stephanie Meyer, and I'm here to talk to you about our special event business license tax waiver process. We'll go briefly over our current process, our recommendations, some alternatives, and then get into next steps. So the main reason we're bringing this to you was we believe our current process is fairly inefficient. We are using a portion of the municipal code that provides a way for council to waive our business license tax requirement if it believes it is in the community's best interest to do so. So we have been doing this on a per event basis. This requires an application from the event organizer, the permittee, and or vendors. Staff then reviews and submits an administrative report to council, and you have the opportunity to review and approve or disapprove. So we've identified a few challenges with this. It is administratively time consuming. It does not establish a consistent kind of knowable in advance policy for our event organizers and vendors. With this, we're not able to effectively retain information about the vendors that are appearing in many special events in our community. And we estimate that this results in about $25,000 in revenue loss each year. So what we're proposing for you this evening is a tiered lower rate that would apply to vendors participating in up to 3 events annually. So what we're looking at is for City of Redondo Beach vendors, those based here, a rate of $20, and for non-city, a rate of $25. And this kind of mirrors our current city, non-city for our regular annual rate. We're proposing that each vendor can then pay the $20. They participate in 3 events. If they participate in more, we would assess them the additional amount, so they just pay up to the regular annual rate. We are proposing an exception for city organized special events. So similar to our Juneteenth and summer reading, our city birthday, where we have a few vendors and the city signs a contract with those vendors. So we'd propose a no fee license for those special vendors. In addition, we would like to propose that we develop and implement a technology administration fee to improve customer experience both for the special event process, but that would apply to our business license more generally. And I'll discuss that a bit more later in the presentation. Yes?
Just one quick question on this.
Sure.
So for example, City of Redondo Beach up to 3 times per year, that's $20 per event, not $20 for up to 3.
It's $20 for 3.
For 3.
Is what we're proposing,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So $20 covers you for 3 events, and then you
okay.
Pay more after the 3rd, or yes. We also outlined some alternatives based on other kind of paths that other cities have chosen. So we're describing them with a couple of considerations. One way that other cities handle this is to essentially have the special event permittee or event organizer pay for all the vendors. So they would provide us a list, we'd assess the tax, they would pay for all of them. The challenge with this is, again, it doesn't give us a lot of visibility into what vendors are operating within the city, and that's useful information for us. Another option is to exempt all special event vendors from business license tax. A few cities do this with the idea that they're promoting special events in the community. This has the same problem I just mentioned, and it would also lead to lost revenue. And I'll also note, would probably lead to slightly more lost revenue than we're currently seeing, because right now, not all events request these waivers, right? So we are receiving some revenue from special event vendors that have not requested waivers or received waivers from the city. We could also continue with our current process. Again, we've highlighted the challenges with that. In addition to the 2 that I just mentioned, it is administratively burdensome for city staff, and I believe for the event organizers as well. If council chooses to approve our recommendation, you can, of course, also recommend that we adjust the number of events subject to the initial lower rate. So to your point, Councilmember Castle, if you think $20 per event is more appropriate, or $20 for 2 events, we could do that. And if you think the 20 and 25 are not the right numbers, we'd hear your direction on that as well. So for next steps, we would return to you with an update to our business license tax municipal code to implement the new tiered rate structure. We can do this through ordinance update rather than a Prop 218 vote, because the recommended changes don't increase the rates or expand the base of entities that are subject to the tax. So the whole point of this and the impact of it is to decrease the rates or provide a lower rate for entities already subject to the tax. We're also looking at some administrative process streamlining to, again, improve the process, especially for the special event vendors. Part of this will be to review the supporting documents that we require for these requests with the goal of simplifying the application. And we'll take a review, kind of look at best practice, look at other cities, and just make sure that, you know, we're not over gathering, and see if there's a way to simplify without losing any of the kind of regulatory oversight that we need to maintain. And then finally, we would like to introduce some technology-driven process enhancements. Again, this will affect special events, but business license as a whole. There are technology solutions that will help to put the whole process online. We can create a customer portal where businesses can apply for licenses, where they can look up their license, reprint it, figure out whether they've paid, all things that currently they need to either call or visit City Hall to do. So we think this would be a great improvement for our businesses. It does cost money. We are proposing to fund it through an administrative technology fee. This is something that we've seen in other cities, and we're estimating for a fairly low number, and we'd have to look into this, so I may have to change this later, but we're estimating for as little as $5 per new or renewal, we'd be able to cover the cost of the technology. So for the first 2 items here in terms of next steps, these, you know, we could return pretty promptly. The technology would take, we think, a little bit longer. We need to make sure we're getting the right thing. But we would come back to council with a procurement recommendation and with a proposed fee as appropriate. And that concludes my presentation. Happy to take questions.
I do have one question. When you talk about a $25,000 in lost revenue item, is that on the assumption that those businesses were paying the full $100 or $129?
Yes.
Okay, so not at the 20. So it's not like we would implement this and see 25,000. If we implemented this, we'd see 20 or 5,000.
Exactly, yes. And so really revenue generation is not the major purpose of this. It's really to create a better, more predictable, less administratively burdensome process, and one through which the city can reclaim some revenue.
And to, I think, as Stephanie noted, to ensure that we are capturing proper information from business activities that are occurring in our community. That's one of the things that I think we want to stress in this exercise, that it is important, whether we charge a nominal fee, no fee, or a moderate fee, it's important that all vendors are obtaining a business license, because the record of their activity, what they're selling, how they're selling it, those types of things, it's important that we have access to that information. And ultimately, even a small fee, a modicum of a fee, creates a transaction that's easy for us to track in future years.
Yeah, I definitely support the idea. The small fee, $20, $25 is quite reasonable, I would think, for somebody who's going to spend a weekend at an event, or maybe 2 weekends or 3 weekends. I don't know whether the right number is 2, 3, or 4, but I do think that's reasonable. I love being able to capture that, and then knowing, because we might find somebody who does, I don't know if we have 6 events that they could do, but at that point, that's quite a regular business.
Yeah.
How does this work with the farmers market vendors?
It's the same assumption. We would treat them as vendors within that event activity. Really, our farmers market vendors should be obtaining a business license. They're active retailers in our community, prospectively 50 times a year, or perhaps more, depending on holiday closures. So that's, and we are. I will say this, we are on the very much the low side of a business license rate to begin with. I mean, we could have a separate discussion about whether or not it should be $99 for these types of activities, special event aside, just meaning a business license in general. So there's some advantages to actually having discounted rates that we've come to learn in conversations with the business community, but at the same time, we're already on the very low end of a business license fee rate. And if you're going to sell products in the community 50 times a year, potentially, probably should pay $99 or $125, whatever it may be.
Councilmember Castle.
I just wanted to thank our finance director for working on this. One of the issues that's come up from several of our businesses, both for these markets as well as just businesses in general around the city, is just the complexity and sort of bureaucratic administrative process of having to come down to City Hall to bring certain corporate documents to apply for a business license. And I like the technology fee that's going to go to this, that's going to streamline that process. And then secondly, I know that when we do have these events like Summerfest or the Boat Parade or other markets around the city, that even for the staff to put together the reports to bring it to council, it takes a lot of time and energy and money from the admin side to bring those to council. So just coming up with a better way to handle these, I think will make all of our lives much easier and better in the future. And again, whether it's $20 for 3 events or $20 per event, I don't think the dollars are going to move that much. So if your recommendation is $20 for up to 3, I mean, I think that's fine to start. And I would like to make a motion that we move forward with these recommendations.
Before we do that, Councilmember Kalajedovich also would like to ask a question. Yes.
Yeah, just a clarification. So I think it's a great incentive to get that information about businesses in the community. I think $20 is low and nominal for even up to 3, fine. But I would assume that then they don't get to renew. They wouldn't sign up, if they did 3 events, but they want to do 3 more and they paid $20 again instead of the $99. There's no renewal within the year.
Right, yeah. Once you eclipse that, whatever that tier is that we set, whether it's 3, 2, 3, 4, whatever, once that's eclipsed, it's the full $99 rate. So
You
they would
can't
then be.
reapply and do it.
Right, and they would then be asked to pay the delta between the two, between the 99 and the
Great.
20 at that
And
point.
that's in a 12-month period or a calendar year?
I think it's a single rolling 12-month period under our current license. Yeah, rolling 12 months, yeah.
Okay, that was my only question.
All right, so do you need that motion that Councilmember Castle made?
Yeah, that direction is helpful. I mean, we're going to come back to you with an ordinance draft that would enshrine these details, and then ultimately we would act accordingly. So yeah, that if everybody's corporately on board with that, that helps.
Sounds good. Councilmember Barrett seconded the motion. So that brings us to public comment on this. Do we have any comment online?
We do. We have Mickey Johnson.
Okay, so Mickey, please make your comment. We should be able to hear you.
Okay, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members and staff. I am speaking to you today as the president of the North Redondo Beach Business Association and speaking on behalf of our board. Thank you, first of all, for all your work on tonight's item N2, the business license tax structure for special event vendors. It's very, very helpful. One thing I want to note is that in the staff report and BRR 27, NRBBA is listed as the organizer of Summerfest. And we would love to have that corrected because that's actually a Riviera Village Association event. And we think that really impacts how the revenue loss figures are being understood. NRBBA totally agrees with that the city should have visibility into every business operating in the city, including SpringFest. SpringFest is a free 4-day community festival now in its 45th year. And as you know, NRBBA is not a business improvement district and does not collect membership dues. SpringFest has been the sole fundraiser for NRBBA for the past 4.5 decades. It funds all of our economic development programs like Dine Around Artesia, which by the way is coming up Thursday, and you can still get a wristband at nrbba.org. It helps fund our new NRB Farmers Market, our beautification programs like the Bike Path Cleanup, and student entrepreneurship and scholarship programs. We support the proposed reduced fee of $20 for city vendors and $25 for non-city vendors, but only once the technology upgrade the staff report calls necessary is in place. The current manual process is a real burden for staff and for small businesses. NRBBA alone coordinates more than 30 vendors over 4 days. NRBBA's Economic Development Task Force has raised their hand and we're ready to help you test it with small businesses. We think it's a great idea. We don't believe the per vendor fee should take effect ahead of the new improved system. If the technology timeline slips, we respectfully ask for one of two alternatives. Waive the individual vendor fees for SpringFest, or assess the fee to NRBBA directly and waive it in full in recognition of SpringFest status as a signature event. Every dollar SpringFest raises goes right back into the community. We appreciate the council's continued partnership and thank you very much.
Thank you. Mrs. Johnson, on that question about the timeline for the implementation, what would you expect for it would take for us to have that technology solution?
I mean, I would have to talk a little more probably to IT, but at least for one of these solutions, there's a decent amount of, implementation time. So I think minimum probably 3 months. It's sounding long as I'm saying it, but I'm just hesitant to commit since we haven't identified a vendor yet. And I think the vendor, depending on the vendor, will determine how long the process is. I will say nothing precludes council from continuing to approve waivers on a one-time basis, even if we've implemented the fee in advance. if you chose to do so.
And I think I would add that Software Solutions, as optimistic as we are about their implementation schedule, tend to lag. I could easily see 6 months before we've fully built, procured, and installed the system and have it functioning. You take iWork or online, again, a more complex structure than business license. But there needs to be communication between the system and our ultimate financial software, Munis. So there's a lot of factors there. If we end up using the financial systems program, that sometimes can allow us to expedite the onboarding. But I would say realistically, it's probably a 4 to 6 month endeavor.
I have no cards. Is there anyone else in the public who would like to come and speak?
My name is Teresa Mitchell, and District 4 resident, and also one of the organizers of the North Redondo Beach Farmers Market. I appreciate that you guys are looking at that. We happen to fall into kind of a middle ground category, is that we do have vendors that are coming every week. We are hoping this becomes a permanent market after October, so they will be here 50 times a year. But we also have a number, as vendors can't make it or we're trying new vendors, we have a number of vendors or pop-up artisanal vendors that are neighbors that are just coming one time. And they're not, so $133 or $150 is a pretty big burden when their sales are only a couple $100, and that doesn't account for cost. So I do think that having the special event vendors and how we apply it would be helpful. A couple of other things that while you guys are working on this policy is that we found is that with the farmers market vendors, since they aren't brick and mortar, some of the requirements when they're submitting for like their farmers, so they have a farm, but they do multiple events, so they don't really have an address. They've been using the market address, which is the library. But some of the requirements of they have to have a fictitious business name, they have to have they fill out a stormwater form, which is not applicable. And that's definitely been something that I've had to work with a number of vendors on and the city on getting that done. So if we could possibly not have a very simplified, maybe just a short application that are for these one-time vendors, that I think that would definitely help on the special events, and that would allow us to bring in, new businesses that just want to try it without committing to a year, committing to something that they can. I do like the 3 for $20, but I wonder how we are going to track that they've been at 3 events, because they may do something for Riviera Village, they may come to us, they may come to another farmer's market, and we have no insight on how that would work. So I would recommend maybe simple application, a one-time fee, and then they give us that fee. Maybe it's something they go down or a simplified invoice, just so that we, and something that happens fast, because yesterday I was looking at vendors because I had somebody not coming tomorrow, who can I fill in? And I can't fill in those spaces because they have to go through a business license process and everything else. So we're trying to pre-screen vendors, but again, I definitely think I really appreciate that you guys are working on this and that it does get simplified.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Councilmember Obaji.
Yeah, actually, first of all, Stephanie, thank you for bringing this forward. Really appreciate it, pursuant to our strategic planning discussions. In the same vein as what Teresa Mitchell just shared, I heard from a resident who, asked AI, where should they open a business? Redondo Beach, Beverly Hills, or Los Angeles? And I told them Redondo Beach because the business licensing fees are the least. Then they went to go try to open their business license, and they're starting a retail business, but they don't have a product to sell yet. They're developing it, so on and so forth. They got told, give us your business, what is it? No, not just fictitious business name, which a company doesn't need to have a fictitious business name, but a retail permit, I think, from the state, right? Which you won't have a retail permit until you actually are able to sell something. So they said, okay, well, get your license from us when you actually have a retail permit. But now the resident feels uncomfortable because they have a business that's incorporated and has a principal place of business in Redondo Beach, but they're not registered as a business with the city. Yeah. So it's that weird spot. So I would say to the extent we can continue to keep this business friendly as you have, and even build on that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and Stephanie and I have talked about this quite a bit. There needs to be a review of our documentation requirements. I think some things may still be appropriate, others maybe bygone era, maybe adjustments can be made, or maybe there is a better application of that kind of need for information. So we're going to be evaluating that, and hopefully we'll address some of these, sort of odd scenarios that arise.
Yeah, simplification would definitely be worthwhile. I don't know about anybody else here, but I've had a business license in Redondo since 1994. So I've been through changing locations, and you have to go to the city and fill out a form. It can become very difficult. Yeah. So having an online portal where you can just come in, and as long as the technology fee is integrated along with the online payment fee, so I'm not paying it twice and feel like the city's coming after me for everything, that would be wonderful. Councilmember Kalajedovich.
Would there be a separate possible application for something that, like the farmer's market, that you're part of a larger organized event? Like Spring Fest, like the farmer's market. It's a different, because there's already safety protocols for that. It's a different type of business.
Yeah, this concept of a short form is an interesting one. It may apply to the 3 events or less concept because they are coming in under a bigger banner and another sort of safety evaluation kind of review. So that is something I think we can explore. And the comment about tracking is definitely on point. That's in fact why we want to, this becomes the basis for us at least to begin that comparative review. Right now, there is no tracking. And I think having an individual in, and as we start to see the activity from different organizers, we can maybe then cross-reference material to know who might be in here on a handful of occasions, who might be in here 20 to 50 times. So we'll have a better ability to make those adjustments and then enforce our code appropriately. But yeah, I think that short form under the header of a special event is something we may want to look at.
Right, and it may tie to the organizer of those special events, what vendors were at your weekly.
Yeah,
right?
And we may want some periodic reports from them so we can kind of cross-reference, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have any other public comment?
Good evening, Wayne Craig, resident of District 1, and also one of the organizers for the Farmers Market in North Redondo. There's one other issue that comes up in our market that you might want to consider as well. Not all vendors pay tax in the farmers markets. If you have prepared food, something that's packaged, it's taxed. If you make something there, it's not. And same thing with produce. So I don't know how we could differentiate or clarify that, because some of the vendors who have come up have been asked when their business license to have a tax ID number. Well, they don't collect tax. So I don't know how we could address that. It's just something that may be more unique to the farmer's market, but that's something that has come up with some of the vendors we've had. So if we could clarify how we address that, that would be good.
If you're incorporated, you have to have a tax ID number.
Correct, but again, when they're not collecting tax, when they're selling produce.
You don't have to collect tax to get a tax ID number.
Yeah, and we try to clarify that at the counter as best we can. In some cases, it's just making sure our own staff are educated on the rules, and I think that's part of the short form analysis and some of the kind of brevity in the documentation. We have to help our prospective vendors understand the rules that they'll ultimately be held accountable for.
Do we have anyone online?
There are no participants online, and there was one e-comment received for this item with the position of neutral noted.
Is there anyone else in person who would like to make a comment? Seeing none, is Councilmember Castle's original motion still clear enough, even with the feedback we've had?
Yeah, it sounds like the general tier concept is acceptable. We'll continue to work on documentation and short form strategies for efficiency, and have more opportunities to discuss the technology administration fee. That's going to have to come back, and as will the updated municipal code. So the ordinance will have to prepare.
All right, thank you. With that, I will call a vote on the motion to, I'm not going to paraphrase it, so Councilmember Castle's motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous. That is the end of the major parts of our agenda for tonight. Up next is city manager items. City manager, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, just a couple items, some housekeeping. As I mentioned last week, we do not have a council meeting next Tuesday. The Harbor Commission will actually be in here having a discussion on Seaside Lagoon. On the 1st, we will be back in action, that first Tuesday of the month. We have at least a couple items that are tracking, I think, to be presented to you that evening. The annual audit, we are scheduled to have an ACFR discussion that evening and hopefully finalize that document. And then we are, it appears, tracking towards introducing our new hedge ordinance to you on the 1st as well. So those will be two substantive items. We will be meeting again on the 8th and then the 15th, and there is a small possibility that we'll need the 4th Tuesday of the month. Not certain on that yet, but just, tentatively circle that date on your calendar as an overflow night, depending on our workload in September. And then there is actually a 5th Tuesday, the 29th, which we do not anticipate needing to have a meeting. So that's all I have for you.
Thank you. I've got, next is item P, mayor and council items. Anybody have anything for mayor or council items?
Referrals to staff.
Well, next is mayor or council referrals to staff, item Q. Anybody have any referrals to staff? I don't know why we have both on the agenda, but I'm calling them all as I see it.
I think that's to give you an opportunity in case somebody missed the first part to make an announcement.
Okay.
They can recover and make that announcement later in the agenda.
Good to know.
Yeah. Try not to use it.
Since this is my first and maybe only time doing it, I'll know for next time. So I have nothing myself, so we are now able to skip R, S, T, and U because we finished closed session, which means I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Yeah. Did you have referrals? I don't know if I didn't hear.
No.
Everybody's good? Okay.
Everybody said no.
Yeah, just to be clear, I think we are, we should schedule our adjournment to 4 o'clock on the 1st. 4 o'clock on the 1st.
Okay.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous. The next meeting of City Council of the City of Redondo Beach will be an adjourned regular meeting to be held at 4 p.m. and a regular meeting to be held at 6 p.m. Tuesday, September 1, 2026 in the Redondo Beach City Hall Council Chambers at 415 Diamond Street. It is 7:12 p.m. and we are adjourned.